So OpenAI has announced Atlas. It is their version of the AI agentic browser. I think a lot of us knew this was coming. It was rumored, and we've seen tools like Perplexity try to release their own browsers through Comet. The interesting thing is the market reaction. Within about an hour of OpenAI posting their first tweet about Atlas, Google lost 100 billion in market cap. But the interesting thing is that ChatGPT is a Chromium browser, so it plugs in very nicely to Chrome. You can use all the browsers, all the extensions. And some of the features are pretty incredible. The whole tool of Atlas is to rethink how we use the internet by letting ChatGPT understand the context from your browsing and take actions like researching, automating tasks, or even completing purchases without switching apps. A couple of the really big features to highlight are the integrated ChatGPT assistants. So you can just ask it questions or give it commands right in the browser, and it will use the context from your browser and your open tabs to provide relevant help. So it might summarize articles, compare products, add items to your cart. It's essentially like a little sidekick of yours into the browser. It's essentially like a little sidekick of yours that's built right into the browser. Now, agent mode is something that ChatGPT has been working on and improving since ChatGPT agent launch. From my quick initial testing, agent mode is a lot better on Atlas than it is in ChatGPT agent. And in here, ChatGPT can basically perform complex tasks like it can book flights, it can order food, it can add items to carts, it can compile research briefs, it can open tabs, click buttons, it can automate workflows with your permission, and it will hesitate on sensitive actions like creating wallets for safety. So it's very intuitive and very smart, and so far it's worked really, really well. Now, similar to a regular browser, it has browser memory. So it will remember, if you want it to, your browsing history. It will activate personalized suggestions. You can view, delete them, or archive them easily. Now, of course, this is going to feed into the OpenAI ad program that is coming, I don't know when exactly, probably 6 months to a year. But obviously, they're going to be able to get even more data about you. So now not only do they have your chat data, but they will have your browsing data, and they will be able to provide hyper targeting essentially for whatever products and services that you might want or you might need. So as a marketer, I am very anxiously awaiting this ChatGPT ads program. The new tab page is very much like ChatGPT in general. It'll open up a search bar where you can type in a URL for questions, or you can just prompt something like find holiday recipes or review today's calendar. And it even has incognito mode. So you can log out for private browsing. You can toggle page visibility if you want to block ChatGPT from seeing certain sites. And it even has parental controls so you can disable advanced features. There are a lot of other tools that make Atlas very special. So deep research mode, which is something you're probably familiar with inside of ChatGPT, is essentially where you prompt ChatGPT and enable agent mode. And what it's going to do is it's going to research sites, analyze content, synthesize insights into a brief report, and it will use browser memories for personalization. So it can reference your past searches, and it can include some examples would include compiling meal plans with ingredient research, pulling data from team docs, or creating summaries from multiple resources. So this can kind of automate end-to-end tasks like competitive research or event planning. It will pause for your confirmations. If you've ever used Manus before, it's very similar to how that works. Now, this is only for Plus and Pro users. It can't run code, it can't download files or access your system, and in terms of complex tasks, it remains to be seen how well this works. But what's interesting is they also included image generation into this. So you can open the sidebar and prompt generate an image of a futuristic browser. It will create images and display them in line. But ultimately, I'm not sure how relevant that feature is going to be. So the tab search is interesting, which is explicitly the smarter searches feature where results are organized into tabs for easy exploration and navigation. And the way it works is on a new tab page, you basically just enter in a prompt in a chat-like format, and it will switch views between links, images, videos, and news. So essentially, it's doing all of this contextually and deciding what it thinks is most relevant to show to you. I haven't played around with this enough to understand how useful it actually is, but I think it's kind of a no-brainer that ChatGPT was going to come out with a browser. Agentic AI browsing has kind of been a big hype term this whole year. I haven't, with Perplexity's Comet, I haven't loved it. I personally haven't found a lot of use case with it, but I did see some tweets on X showing that Atlas is a lot more effective than Comet. So I'm going to play around with it a lot, and we're going to see. The interesting thing is, how is Google going to fight back with this? We're seeing them kind of cannibalize their own business by pushing Gemini harder and harder into Google search. Well, this is going to force them once again to innovate and to have to what's the saying? Cut off their nose to spite their face. No, that's not the saying. Something like that. But anyways, Google is going to have to really make a lot of innovations if they want to compete and they want to fight back, because, this is V1 of Atlas, and most V1 drops from OpenAI have been pretty mediocre, but it gets significantly better over the next 6 to 12 months. So in October of 2026, a year from when this is launched, I have no doubt it's going to be an incredible tool that we use more and more. I mean, the first reasoning models were released about a year ago, and think about how far they've come from O1 preview to O3 to now GPT-5 Pro. It's pretty insane. All in all, I think this is really interesting. I'm excited to see how it works. I'm excited to see how it helps my workflow. I'm a little skeptical about the early use, but with that said, I have no doubt that 5 years from now, we will not be using Web 2 browsers. It will all be agentic AI.